The woman never imagined that the wedding car coming to pick her up would not be a luxury vehicle, but a broken three-wheeled cart. The man who came for her was nothing more than a scrap collector. Her younger sister mocked her, saying that in the future the woman could laugh while sitting on a tricycle, while she herself would have to sit in a luxury car and cry in grievance. The woman recognized the man at a glance. She often saw him when she was delivering packages. He was the one who collected scrap. The woman was originally the eldest daughter of the wealthy Liu family, but 6 years ago, after becoming pregnant before marriage, she was kicked out of the house and fell so low that she had to make a living delivering packages. Today, her father suddenly found her and said he wanted to take her back to the Liu family. She thought her father had forgiven her, but instead he only wanted her to replace her sister and marry into the Yi family, the scrap-collecting family, while her sister would marry into the wealthy Wang family. The two sisters got married on the same day, but the wedding processions were worlds apart. People around them pointed and whispered, saying that since the eldest daughter had been pregnant before marriage, she was a perfect match for a scrap collector. Before leaving, her sister didn't forget to mock her again, saying that if there was ever junk at home in the future, she would call her sister and have her personally come collect it. Just like that, the woman took her son and got onto the tricycle. When they arrived, she got off and saw the courtyard piled high with empty beverage bottles. Suddenly, a large sack of bottles fell over, startling her. Fortunately, her mother-in-law was very kind and extremely satisfied with her. She didn't dislike her son at all and even said the boy looked just like her own son when he was young. The woman secretly decided that since she had married into this family, she would live her life properly here. At that moment, a servant brought tea. After just one sip, the woman froze. This tea was definitely not ordinary. Her mother-in-law said she didn't know what kind of tea it was either. Someone had insisted on giving it to her, and there was still a whole pile left. A single serving costs tens of thousands. This pile was worth tens of millions. Then her mother-in-law took her to the dining hall. The woman was shocked to see 3 legendary master chefs, all cooking there. Her mother-in-law casually said they were Old Wang, Old Zhang, and Old Song, and that when they heard the family was hosting a wedding, they rushed over to cook. 3 top chefs competing to cook a banquet. The woman nearly fainted. When it was time to eat, she was completely stunned. The table was filled with delicacies from land and sea. One table alone cost at least several $100,000, something she could never afford even if she delivered packages her whole life. But her mother-in-law smiled and said this was just ordinary village home cooking, telling her not to dislike it. She said that since the woman didn't dislike her son and was willing to become the Yi family's daughter-in-law, they were family now. After that, she told her son to quickly bring out the gifts prepared for the woman. When the woman opened the gift box, it was full of diamonds. She was completely dumbfounded. Seeing her reaction, the man hurriedly asked if she didn't like them and said they could be exchanged. She quickly refused, saying she liked them very much, but they were too valuable. The man then took out 2 cards and gave them to her, saying they were for her pocket money. When she saw them, she realized there were only 10 of these cards in the entire world, and he had casually taken out 2. She was completely numb. She cautiously asked if his family was very rich. The man answered shyly. The woman was completely stunned and secretly delighted. Meanwhile, her sister was still fantasizing that the woman must be scavenging through garbage piles, destined to be trampled under her feet. But on her wedding night, her husband forced her to kneel and wash his feet. She wanted to refuse, but her husband pushed her to the ground and viciously warned her. In the end, she obediently knelt down and washed his feet. Even so, she comforted herself by thinking that even washing his feet was better than marrying a scrap collector. Early the next morning, the mother-in-law told her son to take the woman and her child shopping for clothes, and ordered that they must not return until the wardrobe was completely full. The woman said she didn't need that many clothes, but her mother-in-law angrily said that a man earns money for his woman to spend. The man immediately made a phone call to arrange it at the mall. After receiving the call, the manager immediately gathered the employees and announced that an important guest would be arriving soon to shop, and that they must serve them well without any mistakes. Just after the manager finished speaking, the other man arrived with the younger sister. She walked in and shouted for all the clothes in the store to be brought out for her wife to try on. Everyone immediately assumed they were the VIP guests the manager mentioned and rushed to flatter them. At that moment, the woman arrived at the mall with her son. The staff stopped her from entering, arrogantly saying that there were VIP guests inside and they were not receiving ordinary customers. The woman hurriedly explained that her husband had said this was the store. Seeing her wearing a delivery vest, the clerk sneered and mocked her, saying her husband must be a delivery worker too, and asking since when delivery drivers could shop in such a store. Seeing she wasn't welcome, the woman prepared to leave, but her sister suddenly called out to her. "Isn't this my dear older sister?" She told the staffs that they were wrong. Her husband isn't a delivery driver. He's a scrap collector, and said, "My husband is here to shop with me. What about you? Delivering packages." She reminded the staff that the mall had a rule. Poorly dressed people were not allowed inside. The sister mocked her again, saying that someone married to a scrap collector had no right to shop in such a high-end mall, and asked if she even knew how much one piece of clothing cost. The sister and her husband continued insulting her, joking that her scrap collector husband was probably downstairs guarding his dirty tricycle so it wouldn't be stolen. When her child accidentally damaged a piece of clothing, they demanded compensation of 150,000 yuan. They threatened to call security and mocked her for being poor. The sister said she could help pay, but only if the woman knelt down, admitted she was cheap, and apologized. When the woman refused, they ordered the guards to restrain her child. To protect her son, she agreed to kneel. They humiliated her further, demanding she undress, threatening her child if she didn't comply. At that moment, her husband finally arrived. He calmly told her not to worry and said he would handle it. They mocked him, saying a scrap collector had no way to handle such a situation, and demanded that both husband and wife kneel and bark like dogs. The woman stood up and said they could humiliate her, but they could not humiliate her husband. Just then, an enraged voice shouted for them to stop, scolding them for being blind and daring to bully the CEO's wife. "Don't you know her husband owns this mall?" They were shocked and left in shame and disgrace.